What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders. Sources say that talks have already been in place after his fight when Conceres Saturday night. He was on the undercard, of course, of the Logan Paul versus KSI event. And Billy Joe is reportedly a potential opponent being considered from Canelo Alvarez in May of 2020. Now, a week prior, Canelo knocked out Sergey Kovalev, of course we know, to obtain the WBO light heavyweight world title, though he currently holds the belt at middleweight and super middleweight. Now it has been reported that very preliminary talks have already taken place prior to meet next year. And nothing is concrete, of course, but these guys have been talking. Of course, Eddie Hearn works seldomly with Oscar De La Hoya with Golden Boy Promotions. They've worked before. I don't see why they can't do it again. Now, as much as people wanted to see this fight, this fight has kind of been swept under the rug because of talks with Triple G and, Cinco de Mayo weekend. And DAZN, they really want Canelo to take on a trilogy, a rubber match with Gennady Golovkin, which Canelo himself has said and really has no interest in that fight, And I think Golovkin, my own thoughts about that, I think he needs to do something else. But, that would be the only thing or the only reason I see that fight not happening. Because the partners with DAZN would want to see another fight because they produced, two good fights, very interesting fights between Canelo and Triple G. But I'm thinking Canelo doesn't really just want to stay attached to this one fighter like Golovkin is content to stay with to be attached to Canelo. So this would be a way out. This would be a fresh new choice for Canelo Alvarez. Also, the size of Billy Joe Saunders, him being a southpaw and a boxer, I think it would be good. Now, me counterpunching the fact that I believe this fight could happen sooner than later is because of the performance that Billy Joe Saunders has. Let's backtrack in late 2017 when Billy Joe Saunders took on David Lemieux. Okay, David Lemieux was that guy we thought was going to catch Billy Joe and knock his block off. That did not happen. Billy Joe put on a boxing clinic. He boxed one of the most beautiful performances that I've seen him ever do. Now, backtrack before that, he fought a guy named, I think it was Matt Akaval, and he looked like doo-doo. Okay, he did not look good. He looked like he had ring rust. He looked like he was he looked like he had missed a step. But in the Lemieux fight, there was no such thing. But in this fight, this current fight, he had a challenge with Conceres, right? Conceres gave him everything that he can handle. Honestly, if it wasn't for, I think, the 10th round or 11th round knockout, that fight probably would have been up in the air for grabs. He looked like he was fighting, in the way he was fighting towards a split decision loss or a split decision win or a draw. So it was real close. So he needed that knockout. Now, one thing I notice about Team Canelo, if a fight looks winnable, beatable, I think they'll go for that then. Look at Kovalev when he fought Yard. He was in trouble with Yard. Yard was a little green, but Yard gave Kovalev problems. Team Canelo knew to jump on that right then. And I think they will take that bait now. Okay, I think they will take that bait due to the fact Billy Joe didn't really look too well. Let's jump on him right now. Let's take advantage of this fight to fight now so we can get this guy out of the way. He's an undefeated fighter. He's a champion at 168. I'm a champion at 168. Let's do a unification. Why not? because he looks beatable. He didn't look like the same fighter that fought David Lemieux. But the funny thing about Canelo, the irony of that is, I think this is just Billy Joe's way of getting the cobwebs off, and I think he rises to the occasion because David Lemieux's a knockout artist, right? He puts people to sleep. So Billy Joe knew that. So he'll also know that about Canelo. He's like a counterpunching king with beautiful upper body movement and great, brilliant combinations. So he knows what he's against. And I think if they do fall and they take that bait, that's going to be a fight that's very interesting because they're going to anticipate Billy Joe to fight like Billy Joe did with Akavalv or with Concedes, or you know what I mean? He's going to look mediocre. But I think that's the whole game plan with Billy Joe. Not saying he tried to fight like that because Concedes was a very game fighter. I think that if Canelo has any chance of beating this guy or taking this fight, this would be the best time to do it. You know what I mean? Because the way they strategize and pick fights the way they do, this would be a fight they should make. If he doesn't want to fight Triple G and he does call the shots and he does have a call, a pony in the show on who he should select to fight, it would be Billy Joe. So I like this fight because I'm interested to see how those guys will match up. But based on only the fight that I seen from Concedes Saturday night, Canelo would beat that guy. He would beat that version that showed up that night. Okay, so it is what it is. But then again, if this was a Cinco de Mayo weekend fight, an undefeated fighter, a champion versus Canelo, the cash cow, which is also a champion in many weight classes, so that looks good. I would love to see that fight go down. You guys tell me what you think about Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. They're in preliminary talks right now. Tell me what you feel, thoughts. Please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.